Javier from Proactive Dog Training. Today we will talk about the down. We will focus on 3 aspects this time. It will be, the first one will be how to use luring to get the dog to fold or go down in 2 different ways. One is a fold and then the other one is walking forward. We will also talk about using pressure to get the dog to down. All right, so we're gonna start with luring. So first you grab a treat and your dog's gonna follow that treat. What you will do is get the dog's attention first. So let's say that the dog looks at you, you say Fluffy, they look at you, you say yes, give them one treat, then keep another treat on you, and then move the treat down, but at a little bit of an angle towards the dog. So you're gonna hit maybe 6 inches or so towards the dog versus if you hit the floor straight down. So you're not gonna move the treat straight down, you will go at a little bit of an angle towards the dog. That will make the dog collapse if they are on a stand position. So meaning they're standing on all fours, then they will collapse back. So those arms will fold. You'll see on the video how that folding looks. You can also do this. You'll have a treat and then you can bring it straight down if they are on a sit position. So let's say you say Fluffy, and a lot of dogs, they've gotten so used to sitting down right away when you call them, that you say Fluffy, they look at you, you give them a treat and they sit down. So instead of standing them up, just bring the treat straight down. So the dog's licking it, smelling it, bring the treat straight down. They'll likely walk down. So instead of standing up or collapsing. I don't care if they collapse or not. A lot of trainers love that collapsing way. It looks way prettier. But at this point, you know, if you're doing general obedience, you're not doing competition, then you just want it to be reliable. So either check to see what your dog responds to, and if it's not collapsing, move the treat around to see how to do it. Some food motivated dogs, they want the food so bad that they push against you. So let's say they're standing and they're following the treat. So let's say that this is the dog, this is the treat, and they're trying to get this treat. What you can do is, as you're going down, push them back a little bit. That makes them more likely to collapse easier. So those very highly driven, food motivated dogs, that can be a good method. Keep in mind, you might get your fingers kind of nipped depending on how used your dog is to be gentle. Part is gonna be about pulling down or using your leash to apply pressure, and they turn it off by going all the way down. If you did some luring work with your treat, I still recommend doing the compulsion or the pressure down. And the reason for it is it makes it a lot easier it makes it a lot more resistant to competing motivators. So when you go outside and you have that dog friend that your dog wants to say hello to, you have a good treat and your dog's like, I don't care about the treat right now. So you can use some pressure. That way they have to do it. So the concept will be this. You're gonna apply the leash pressure down. If you did the luring already, then you'll have a treat on your hand. Bring the treat towards the dog's face. Then you're gonna start going down, grab that leash, and then keep going down to whatever angle you were using before. So if you were going towards the chest of the dog to get them to collapse with the treat, you can do it that way. If you were doing it straight down, you can do that as well, whatever was working before. At this point, you're gonna be using very little pressure. You're not gonna be using a ton of leash pressure. If you use too much, you're gonna freeze the dog. They're gonna go, what is going on here? So they're gonna feel like you're being forced. So instead, just apply a little bit of pressure. That pressure will help so they get conditioned that they give in, they get rid of it by going down, and that will be very useful for when they don't want to do it. There's something better going on, so they don't want to do it. So then that pressure is very useful. You're gonna wait to name the command, and this applies to both luring or compulsion or whatever method you're using. Wait to name the command until you can create it. So if you know that you can bring that treat down and the dog downs, then you can name it. So you'll say down, do the motion, yes and treat, or free. Free means come get the treat, or you can come celebrate with me. Yes will mean I'm bringing you a treat where you are. So they have to hold position. That will help you with the stay. Then you're gonna follow the correct order and sequence, which is gonna be down, so the word or the command first, then gesture, we usually point, then pull down, use the leash, use a treat to get them down, or the little collapsing, whatever you're using, just make sure you do it after. And once they do go down, then you can say yes and bring a treat, or you say free and they can come get the treat and celebrate. Whichever method you use, if they are struggling, make sure you use free and release them and celebrate. Don't go to a yes and a treat and make them stay or anything like that. The stay comes after, once the dog really gets it. Now, if you're just practicing, then you can start adding some duration. So maybe you get them to down, and now they're downing pretty easily. You wait a little bit longer, then say free. Or wait a little bit, say yes, treat, and then wait, and then yes, and another treat. That way you can start building that duration. But just remember the correct order and sequence. Don't name it until you know you can create it. And then make sure that you reward when they do it, especially if you're using any sort of pressure, that you give them a good relief and a good reward. So they really realize, I got this. I solved this puzzle and I understand what I was supposed to do, and they celebrate. Next time you stay down, they're going to down a lot quicker and a lot more reliably.